I mentioned an area where Dubbo is in the centre of it. It's called the Central West Arana Zone. Now, it was reported in the Australian newspaper today that that zone is 20,000 square kilometres in size. And the idea here is that foreign construction companies are signing contracts to build green energy projects like wind turbines, solar panels, and of course you're going to have transmission lines right through the middle of all of this. Now, my point at the start of the program is I think in 2024, the battle between farmers in rural Australia and the green energy that the government wants to build and says it has to build to get us to a point where we have negative, the whole global warming argument about net zero is going to cause a split in the communities. Someone who'll know more about this than I do is National Senator Matt Canavan. Thanks for joining us. Had you ever heard of this Central West Arana Zone?
Yes, I had. It's one of a number of different renewable energy zones that's been designated by the New South Wales government. And really, this is just the beginning, Steve. A recent report put out this year by some academics calling themselves the Net Zero Australia Group shows how much of our landscape will be defaced by, as you say, foreign-built solar and wind farms. That 20,000 hectares you mentioned, it's actually going to be a total of well over 100,000 hectares, apparently an area the size of half of Victoria. And this group, this Net Zero Australia group, they're advocates for net zero. They're not like me who are concerned about it. They want it to happen, and they sort of just mention this and produce these maps with vast swathes of our continent absolutely blanketed with wind turbines and solar panels. And you have to wonder whether any of these academics actually descend from their ivory towers and come out and speak to the landowners and farmers and communities that are expected to just have their ambience, their livelihoods destroyed in this futile attempt to change the temperature of the globe.
Yeah, I should correct myself. It's 20,000 square kilometres, the Arana Zone, so it is a huge slice of New South Wales. And we learned today from that story in the Australian, the ABC's also reported on this, that many of the farmers are being, if they sign up for compensation for having a transmission line through their property, or they give over some of their property to put solar panels, they're being paid compensation. But then, Matt, they get asked to sign privacy deals, documents that say they have to keep the amount of money they get secret. And so you've got one neighbour who doesn't want to have a giant bloody, wind turbine next to him, next to a neighbour who does, and the neighbour next door can't tell the bloke next door what he's being paid.
Well, that's right, and that's why the Nationals Party have been calling for a code of conduct here. There should be a code of conduct that governs the behaviour of these renewable energy companies, especially these foreign-owned ones, who, in my experience, give very short shrift to community rights, to landowner rights. The problem, you've always got this problem, Steve, that whoever is considered the angels among us usually are the biggest sinners because they feel like they can get away with things. And these renewable energy companies behave as if they're saving the world. And so why should they have to descend and deal with these sort of difficult town hall meetings and answered questions when you're saving the world? You've got bigger fish to fry, and I just don't see them doing this groundwork, getting people on board. And that's why we need a code of conduct here to govern this behaviour and make sure we get fair outcomes. I agree with you. This issue is going to blow next year. There's going to be a big rally in Parliament House when we come back in February. I know a lot of people here from Central Queensland will be travelling down for that, as will people from all over the country, because the rest of Australia needs to understand what's happening to our environment, what's happening to our landscapes, what's happening to our ability to feed ourselves through the destruction of our land through renewable energy projects.